Today we're talking about slope. You can find slope using a graph or a table because slope is the rate of change. It can be positive slanting upward or negative slanting downward. But the main thing that we always write is slope equals your rise over your run. Your rise is the change in the vertical points, while your run is the change in the horizontal points. Think about vertical, you're rising up and down, right? While your run is horizontal, you run on a flat plane like the horizon, like the sun comes up the horizon, you're running on that flat plane. So to find the slope of this treadmill, we're going to take the rise 10 over the run 48. And the way we do that is we write 10 over 48 and we simplify to get 5/24. So in this case, the slope is 5/24 and we write inches because we always have to have a label. And in this case, the slope is representing inches. So with this, 5/24 really represents this right here along the treadmill. Let's look at another one. The graph shows the cost of muffins at a bake sale. Find the slope of the line. So if you choose 2 points on this line, for example, this point, and you count its rise, which is rising 2, and it's running 1, then the slope is 2 over 1. I could have picked this point and this point, and it would be rising 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and running 1, 2, 3, and 6 over 3 is still 2 over 1 or 2. So the rise over the run, if it goes up, it's positive, and if it goes to the right, it's positive. So up and to the right are positive slopes. If it goes down and to the left, those are negative slopes. Make sure you have this written in your notebook. So what does the slope represent? Again, in this case, the slope is representing the muffins purchased and the total cost. So if you buy 2 muffins, or excuse me, if you buy 1 muffin, how much does it cost? $2. So every 1 muffin costs $2. So we can write it like this because slope is really kind of like, in this case, a unit rate, but normally it's a rate of some sort. The table shows the number of pages Garrett has left to read after a certain number of minutes. The points lie on the line. Find the slope of the line. So you can choose any 2 points in this table and you can find their slope. So we're looking for the change in the y, which would be the pages left, over the change in the x, which would be the time in minutes. Go ahead and try this one, and I'll be back in just a second to show you what I did. Don't forget to talk about what the slope represents. Okay, so if you found this one, I just took these 2 points, 9 and 12, 12 comma, or 1 comma 12, wow, and 3 comma 9. So I took the change from 9 to 12 and the change from 3 to 1, and this right here is a -3, while this is a 2. If I found it the other way, it would still work, and I'll show you in just a second. So 9 minus 12 is -3, divided by 2 is a -3/2. If I reversed it and did 12 minus 9 over 1 minus 3, you would still get 3 divided by a -2, which simplifies to a -3/2. So we can also check our work by using different points. So if I used, for example, this time, the 6 and the 3, and the 5 and the 7, and I found their change and their change, again, it still works. So what does the slope represent in this case? If these are the pages left, then in every 2 minutes, it takes him to read 3 pages. Okay, you try it. Find the slope of each, and then I will show you my answers. Okay, so for B, you're looking for the rise over the run, and in this case, you can count it on that graph. But for the table, you're finding the change in 2 points. So for B, you should have gotten 3/4 because you're rising 3 and you're running 4. Here you should have gotten 1/4 because you're taking the change in your y's, which would be, it's a 1, over the change in your x's, which would be 4, so 1/4. So there's also a slope formula. You can use this formula in case you are unable to actually count the change. So this slope formula is right here. This formula says if you take the y's and you subtract them and you put them on top, and you take the x's and you subtract them, now keeping them in the same order, mind you, then you will find your slope. For example, if we wanted to find the slope that passes through 1, 2 and -4, 3, we can take and subtract our y's, which would be 3 minus 2, so this one minus this one, and the -4 minus 1. When we do that, we get a -1/5. If we reversed them and we did 2 minus 3 over 1 minus a -4, you would still get a 1, but it's negative this time, over, and this is a not, so it's +4 over 5. So it still equals -1/5. Okay, so go ahead and see if you can find the slope of these. Make sure for this one, like these two right here, that you use the slope formula. Okay, pause the video and I'll be back in just a second to show you the answers. Okay, so the rise was 3 over 15, which simplifies to 1/5. This one, you're rising 1, 2, 3, 4, and you're running 1, 2, 3, so 4/3. You could also think of this, if you look at their lines, it's going down 4 and back 3, which still simplifies to positive 4/3. This one would be 2 because you're changing, you're going from 7 minus 5 over 3 minus 2, which gives you 2 over 1, or 2. And then these two, you're finding the slope of the line that passes through the pair of points. So 4 minus a -2, which is a not, and gives you 6. And you're putting that over 5 minus a -3, which is again a not, which is 8. So you get 3/4. You could have reversed those. And then on this one, I'll show you the reverse. I could have taken 5 minus a -3 over -6 minus 3. And this would have given me a positive 8 over a -9, or -8/9. So the cool thing about slope is you can find it right in an equation. For example, if I look at this equation, y equals m times x plus b, your slope is the coefficient in front of x. So in this case it's 2, and in this case it's 1/2. If the number were -2x plus 3, then it would be a -2, and if this were a -1/2 x, it would be a -1/2. So the slope can easily be found in an equation. Try to identify the slope here for me. Okay, pause the video and try it. So in this case, the slope is 2. In this one, the slope is 1/3, and in this one, the slope is a -4. Okay, so again, if we wanted to find the slope when we are not given a graph or an equation, we could use this formula. Okay, make sure that you have this formula written down. It's incredibly important. Okay, it's so important, I'm even going to show you another example on it. Use the formula to find the slope of the line that passes through the following points. We want to check it also by graphing. So go ahead and use the slope formula, and I'll be back in just a second to show you how this works. Also, grab some graph paper because you're going to plot these 2 points and then count the slope. Okay, so here's what I did. Okay, so I found my differences, and my slope ended up being a -3 over 4. So it's falling 3 and it's running 4. If I plot these 2 points, it proves it by graphing. Okay, so try this one. Use the formula to find a slope that passes through the following points. I'll be back in just a second to show you what I did. Okay, so here's what I did. I took 0 minus 3 and got negative 3, and this was a not, so it's negative 4 plus 2. So since they're both negative, it simplifies to a positive, which we don't really need that plus sign. If you did it this way, 3 minus 0 would be 3, and negative 2, and this is again a not, so plus 4 is positive 2. So your slope is 3, 2. Okay, try this one and see if you can do it. Pick any 2 points. I'll show you the answer in just a second. Okay, you should have gotten 1/4. So make sure that you graph these and see if it works. And that's all I have for you today. I'll see you next time.